Fight Sponsors podcast is proudly sponsored by the DeVere Group, Stuart Piling and J. O'Sullivan Group. Delighted to welcome the former English, international silver, British, European and IBO world champion Liam Davies, who is currently in fight camp for his fight next weekend. Welcome to the Fight Sponsors podcast, Liam. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm very well, Lee. Good to see you as always, and looking forward to this. I have been. We've planned it for a few weeks, so
Yeah, and a little bit longer, yeah. But you're
first
looking
first man
well.
on.
The first man on, yeah. You're looking well. You've been training today.
Yeah, 2 sessions done for the day now. Got a nice tea tonight. My weight's a lot better.
What you having
Um,
tonight?
uh, what we got, Sam, for tea? Fillet steak stir fry with honey and garlic.
Oh, beautiful.
Chef's kiss.
Food of a champion.
Yeah, that's it.
Now, we ran a social media, when we knew we would get this podcast going, we ran a little social media poll and asked followers what they really wanted to hear you answer in this podcast today. And some of the questions, were quite interesting, really. I'm okay just firing a few questions over, Liam, yeah.
Yeah, of course, fire away.
Nice one. The first one, and this was 40% of the followers wanted to know who your hardest hitting opponent was to date in the professional ranks.
Yeah, he's got to be the man that put me down, the Italian La Famina. Very
Italian
strong. The Italian stallion, yeah, very strong, and probably the only fight where I've been walloped and thought, yeah, you can hit hard, and
Yeah.
had to change up. But luckily, I come through it and got the stoppage. But yeah, he's the first and only man to put me down.
Yeah, he had a good record as well. I'm not sure what it was, but I think he was undefeated, maybe 16-0 or something along them
Yeah,
lines.
I believe I'm sure we were both 14-0, both of
Yeah,
us
yeah,
at the
yeah.
time. So it was an even match and a very tough match, tougher than I expected
It
because I
might
never
be.
heard or seen of him. And yeah, I'm sure we'll see him again. Very game, very strong.
Mm, mm. The next one was, what's your day-to-day training regime? You're not pounding meat like Rocky Balboa, are you, in the meat factories?
No, I've always done the same routine really. Um, my days evolve around fight camps, like I'm in now. My
Yeah,
days evolve around the sparring and stuff.
yeah.
We don't want to be doing hard days the day before sparring to
Mm,
not feel good in sparring. Um, so I do track sessions, a lot of sprints, 800 meters and 400 meters.
yeah.
I do a lot of swimming, which I don't really see many boxers do, but I do that for the heart and lungs, where my strength and conditioning coach
Mm,
will tell me how many strokes I can do before a breath. So sometimes I want to get a breath, but he's watching me, so
yeah,
it's
yeah,
very good for stamina, heart, and lungs. You're
yeah,
running, which every boxer does, obviously pad sparring, and but I do mainly two a day, and have a Sunday off, day of rest, a Sunday. I used to have a Saturday off, but it was
yeah.
like the week started for me on a Sunday. It was like a Monday
Mm,
on a Sunday, and it used to send me west, so I changed it now, and I have a Sunday off for the last year or so.
right. So the weeks are busy for you, aren't they? So you're basically training 6 days a week. You're training twice a day.
Yeah,
We're looking at swimming, probably like different strength and conditioning exercises, I assume.
yeah, I
Uh,
do a lot of strength. Only since a pro though, but I'm quite strong actually. I can like squat and deadlift like 110 kg,
wow.
and I fight at 57.
Well, that's some going, isn't it?
It's been a build up because when I first started, we laugh now looking back, I was very weak and my legs used to be sore. So
Yeah.
it just shows with consistency, you can build
Mm.
anything.
Yeah. Yeah. So I always remember Ricky Hatton saying, he could have been a bodybuilder with his power, but it sounds like you've got a good pair of Scotch eggs on you as well, to be honest with you, Liam, if you can move that kind of poundage.
Yeah, it's crazy as well because I got the skinniest legs you'll ever
I have,
see.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
no, mine are like 250.
seem to make it work.
I think, I mean, you look at Deontay Wilder. You know, I mean, he knocked some power out, and apparently
Yeah.
he's got strong legs. And like I say, his legs are like mine, but the darker version.
He's got skinnier legs than me.
Yeah, yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Well, I think power's natural, isn't it? You've either got it or you haven't.
The Alabama power he's got for sure.
So, who's been your inspiration to actually, I'll say, to actually get into boxing?
Yeah, so from the very start, it's always been my father really, because I break it down. Actually, I was born. My mum and dad were 17 years old, very young, and they had me.
Mm, mm,
And so at that age, you see, you spent a lot of time with my granddad and my nan on both sides.
yeah,
And obviously, my one granddad, Brian, he run the boxing gym. So every time I
yeah,
was with my dad or my granddad, I was always at the boxing gym. Loved it, absolutely loved it. And obviously, everyone knew who I was. My granddad run the gym. My dad was a boxer, so everyone treated me well and had love for the sport very, very early.
yeah.
And it's funny because I have a teacher in secondary school. Sometimes I was a teenager. I had a bad attitude,
Did you? Yeah. Well,
and
every teenager,
I
them, aren't
think
they?
yeah, and I think because I was the oldest of my brothers and sisters by a long way, as my mum and dad had me so young,
Mm,
I always felt like I was older than I was. So I was never effing and blinding, but I was more of a, how come you're talking to me like that, you know? Thought
mm,
I was an adult where I wasn't. Back to the boxing side, when I was in school, no, I always used to say I'm going to be a boxer. You know,
yeah.
teachers say, and I always generally believed that. And it kicked off, I think for me in 2022 was proper. So I was always doing it. Amateur, I was not the best. I
Mm,
didn't. I had my granddad in my corner until he passed away in 2011 when I was a teenager, and my attitude kind of changed. So I blame my granddad not being here for me not wanting to box anymore. And you want to be out with your friends and live a normal life, but
yeah.
nothing worth having comes easy.
Mm,
And I unfortunately learnt that the hard way. So I kept at it, luckily. And my dad, as well as I always looked up to my dad, he was my big inspiration.
mm,
But not just in boxing, he's a good man. He took the kids on holiday, always had clean house, always do family barbecues, go to the park, anything. So he's always been my idol as a man, as
brilliant.
well as a boxer, to be honest.
Yeah. And he used to be a boxer, didn't he?
Yeah, he had 15 pro fights himself. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
won a Midland area title and didn't get quite to run it up as high because he always says, as we talk about it, my granddad wasn't there, and my granddad's a bit naughty. He went to jail for many
all right.
years where my dad was professional. So he had no one to guide him, keep him on the straight and narrow. So when it come to me, he was very hard on me because he knew where he messed up.
Yeah,
And I finally grew up in my 20s, listened to him, and thought, I do want to chase this and gonna give it a good go. And 2022, that was my real breakout year, and I won the British title, didn't I?
yeah.
And we've just ran with it since then.
One of the questions was, who wins, you or your dad, with a fight both in your prime?
Oh yeah, me. I think. I, I think. Yeah. I think
Yeah,
so. It
you're a
was hard. I never
character.
really watched my dad because he obviously I was always young. Well, what I did watch, I don't really remember.
Yeah,
Like some old tapes, but mostly amateur.
yeah.
But yeah, I think I'd spark me. No, no, I think I'd do him.
Not do.
I'd do him. Yeah, think so.
He did well, didn't he? 15 fights. I was doing a bit of research for this, and yeah, he had a decent record. But I think, like I say before, I think you seem to carry that power in the family from what we've seen.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I do believe though that the structure of training now is
Yeah.
much better. So when
Mm.
back a day, my dad, and when he was training, it was fitness, fitness, fitness. There was no strength. He said he'd never done strength and conditioning.
Mm.
So it just shows the level that it's leveled up with time now, and that's why you see more knockouts.
How big an influence was your granddad on your career?
Yeah, my granddad was a massive influence. Massive. Like days when I couldn't box, I was too young to box, and my granddad was a judge. He was a coach, head of our coach, but he loved the boxing. He'd go judging. So
Right.
Birmingham, local areas around the Midlands, he'd go and judge. And the weekends I was at my nan and granddad, which was most because that's just how it fell.
Mm.
I spent a lot of time with my granddad going around to shows, and yeah, he loved ABBA, REM, yeah, singing all the tunes, which at the time I never appreciated. I just
You
think,
probably
why is
hated
this
them at
on?
the
But
time, and you're probably singing them now.
I listen to them now.
Yeah,
When I'm
yeah,
tired or I'm running, I like to listen to them, remember, look back and reminisce.
yeah. And does it motivate you listening to those kind of tunes now?
Yeah, massively. And he was a massive inspiration. Back a day, he used to go to the markets. Remember the markets?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, you get cheap boxing boots where older kids would sell them, and I always remember I used to go just try and get gloves or something. And they brought me one time. It was like a stand-up ball, and you stand on the wood. Don't know if you ever seen it, and you can
Mm.
hit them, and it just comes back to you.
Yeah,
And when I was young, I used to draw faces on them, like a face. And after a round or two, I'd put them on a tear, bit of blood on their nose. Put a little cut on them.
yeah, yeah.
So from a young age, when I got that, boxing was everything to me.
Now, a lot of like kids and teenagers, they do stuff for the parents, don't they? They like, the parents say, "Go on, you're going boxing. We'll take you in the car." And then once that structure's gone, some of them just don't bother going, do they? Did you find that you actually didn't really need that shove to go to boxing, or did you was you just really keen to get there?
Yeah, at the start, very keen.
Mm.
They
Mm.
used to tell me I couldn't train. I'd be 10 years old trying to train every night with the adults, and they used to say you can't do that. Give me a
Yeah,
panda pop and sit on the side and watch tonight.
yeah,
But then I'd say teenager, things started going wrong. Started losing. I wouldn't train as good.
yeah.
So sorry about that. My dog going mad.
And
But yeah, I had times as a teenager where I struggled for motivation. My friends are playing out, and it's never really like drink or anything really interesting me. But missing out on times, you're leaving your friends at the park, or they're going to play football on the Astro or whatever.
yeah,
Had to miss a lot of them times, and at the age I was at, I never ever understood why. And my dad used to try explain to me, but never sat with me well what he used to say. And I'd done the boxing for a while, keep my dad off my back, to be honest, because he
yeah,
was on my case, and which is
yeah,
right. He was pushing for his son to do the best,
yeah,
best I could be, and
yeah. How did he
with
push you? Was he just saying, "Come on, Liam, let's get you into that gym"? Or was he physically dropping you off and saying, "Get in there"?
yeah. So well, the main thing was I didn't live with my dad. I lived
Right.
with my
Okay.
mum.
Yeah.
So obviously he wasn't there all the time, but as a teenager, money was always a good way to push me.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
always used to say to me, not that it's about money, but if you do the boxing and you're trying, he was
Mm.
always support me and look after me, you know what I mean? But I
Brilliant.
was living in Donington, sometimes round kids probably not the best to be around.
Mm.
And you can go off the wrong way. So he was always hard on me to keep me on the right track, and we had plenty of arguments. And
Yeah. What's
now I have to.
Donington like? What's Donington like?
Donington's a good
Mm.
place, but with a lot of kids with bad attitude, the wrong look on life. There's like everywhere in the country, really. There's
Yeah.
not much there. There's the boxing gym, but it's not being pushed in schools and stuff
Mm.
to be out there. Like they get
Mm.
them in the schools and get them out. When I was 18, 19, I was going around loads of schools to teach boxing and stuff.
Was you?
Yeah, and
Was you doing that on your
see-
own, or did you do it with your dad, or
yeah, with my dad, me and my dad would go and teach kids in a few schools around Telford, and you'd see some
yeah,
right talent, but it's the getting them there and keeping them motivated because you do your session, and you know how it goes. You go back to your mates that say that ain't cool thing to do. You know what I mean? Why are you doing
oh,
that? That's fine,
yeah,
and it's a lot of negativity really to people. Well, not just negativity, but you don't get things. A lot of kids expect something straight away. We're in life, unfortunately, it don't work like that. It's consistently chipping away at something
yeah,
to make things work in life. And it's a shame most kids realise that when it's too late, they dig the hole too deep.
yeah,
If that makes sense. And
absolutely,
I do
yeah.
worry about the next generation, the future generation, because it's not looking great to me.
Mm,
And you can see it in the amateur gyms. There's not you the last couple of years you have them there till a teenager, 15, 16, then kids disappear and try and come back when it's 20 odd and they've realised but it's too late. They miss kids they were way better than are catching them up.
mm.
So
Do you think basically the pull of social media? Obviously, you've got um, TikTok, Snapchat. You've got all these other different apps that are basically providing so much like bad education to kids. That do you think that as a major factor now moving forward in is really influencing even the boxing community?
yeah, there's too many things on social media for me that are cooler than things kids are doing, but
Mm,
they're not better for them. You know, these videos they make out. I can't even think top of my head. But making funny videos and spraying coke everywhere, hitting themselves, dropping stuff on their foot.
mm,
That it seems more of pushed than these communities, football teams, boxing teams, cricket. Them days of the sports pushed on kids is gone, I
mm,
believe.
mm. Do you think that boxing obviously kept you away from trouble?
Yes,
Potentially, because
definitely.
I mean, areas Donington, obviously there's crime everywhere. There's crime in Donington. There's crime where I'm from in Salford, and yeah, I mean, if you've not got something like boxing in those areas, it's so easy for kids to go astray, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. It's hard because it's nothing's promised in any sport, is it?
No.
You've just got to want it and want it that much till you get it. But
Mm.
in I believe this is my proudest achievement, to be honestly.
Yeah.
It was hard for me as a person in Donington. I'm sure other kids where you ain't seen world champions. Okay, there was Richie Woodall. No one ever sees Richie Woodall. Richie Woodall
Mm.
don't go. The gyms don't. So
Mm.
for me, it was like no one else has done it around this area. Like, why should I? For years, and probably holding myself back.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you
and
think? Yeah. Go on. Sorry.
and then I'd done it, and that's. I hope now that kids believe that it can be done more. If that
Yeah.
makes sense. Someone's done it. They've done it. Why can't I?
Absolutely. And one of the questions I was going to ask is, do you think you've been a real inspiration throughout Telford and throughout the area to help these young kids to see that there is a way and you can be a world champion?
Yeah, I hope I've inspired some. I hope so. I hope I've made them believe it's possible because it really is. And the proof's in the pudding. I trained at Donington Boxing Gym. There's a few gyms around Telford, so it doesn't really matter what gym you go to. But if
Yeah,
you dedicate yourself to a sport, a job, a career, it's all the same. You dedicate yourself. On your good days, you turn up. On your bad days, you turn up. The days you don't want to go, you turn up. You're
yeah,
gonna get something marvelous out of that. That feeling of when you have done it, the money, anything, the feeling of the pride in yourself
yeah,
is unpriceable, unmatchable.
yeah. obviously looking at your professional fights, we had Sean Cairns, who was for the English title in November 2020. He was quite a game fighter. At that point, did you have many sponsors, Liam?
No, so I was actually working on the bins that afternoon. It was a Wednesday afternoon, the biggest day we done in Lawley. It was, I think it's like 2,000 ounces that day you have to do, and the bins, there's three of you. And I had a phone call off my
Two
manager.
houses.
Pardon?
2,000 houses.
Yeah, that was not every day. That was the biggest day.
Yeah.
So it's
That was on the day that
non-stop.
you fought Sean Cairns.
No, no, this is the day I got the phone call.
Got you.
I was sat eating my Greggs, and my manager, it was lockdown, rang me and said about fight Sean Cairns for the bantamweight English title. And obviously I wanted to, but I didn't know my weight. He said, yeah, my dad's the boss, always has been. My dad says, yeah, I'll go with it. And then my dad rang me. I said, I don't know if I'm going to make the weight. And he says, just come to the gym. And I remember, I can act as tough as I want. But them days, I didn't know. I was thinking, my first 10-round fight, this guy's like a lot older. He's coming. You think the worst as human nature, in it.
Yeah.
So always makes me laugh, because if it was just me and my dad wasn't there, I'd have probably made an excuse and not fought.
Yeah.
And I weighed 61 kilo. I had 21 days to make 53.6. And my dad said to me that day in the gym when I was moaning a bit, if you don't take this opportunity, you'll never go nowhere in life. It was brutal and honest. I could see in his eyes he's genuinely meant, like, you've got to do it.
Yeah.
And I did, and it paid off. We went
Well,
up to London, which was another crazy thing for me, because we went to London. I'm just this lad from Donington, local area, and I got there, and you're in the Hilton Hotel. You got Conor Ben, um, what's his name? Alan Bavich.
the
Uh,
heavyweight.
yeah, the cruiserweight heavyweight guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You had all these people there and all the cameras, and I turned up a bit not knowing it was going to. As soon as I got out of the car, the cameras were coming on me, so it was a massive new experience. And yeah, it was a tough guy, Sean Cairns, but I was a bit too sharp and fresh for him on the
Yeah.
night, and I stopped him in 6 rounds. But that was my first taste of the big time, and it was yeah, it was special. It was
That was
special.
that was the Dazzling the Matchroom show, Sky Sports. So you were live there on a big platform, and I think it was I think it was basically Richie Woodall who actually was saying that you really did a terrific performance that night. It was really really good. And then
Yeah.
obviously from there on, you went over to Dixon Flores. That was in October, and this was for the international silver title. So with these two fights, did you actually had much support from any businesses at this point in terms of sponsors at all, Liam?
No, so I've always been quite lucky with sponsors. I know some good people around the local area, and I had friends and people support me, but nothing monthly. No tie downs at the start, 'cause it was all new to me.
Yeah,
People would sponsor me for the fight, and it was great. People would send me money to my bank, and I'm thinking, oh my god, unbelievable,
yeah,
because I
yeah,
didn't know what was all coming. And over the years, I've obviously learned how much these sponsors and people backing you is a privilege for one, a blessing, and how much it is needed. Because
yeah.
say no one was talking big things about me then, and my life and
Mm,
boxing career really took off when I met yourself, Lee, and you helped push for the side that no one really sees behind the scenes, and
yeah,
my career really took off then, and I got a massive thank you to you for that.
nice one, buddy. Liam, so a lot of people in the general public, they don't really truly understand the costs involved of being a professional boxer. Obviously, I mean, I don't know. I've never been a boxer. I've done some, but I've not done it, on the scale that you've done it anywhere near. So, is it expensive with your camp costs and other bits and pieces that you've got to pay for?
Oh, it's crazy. It's
Mm,
crazy. But I'm no Anthony Joshua. I don't get things for free. Not right now.
mm,
But say, I can't think. Say probably £150 on food because you
mm.
got to have a lot of meat, fish.
Yeah,
Average,
and food.
say
Yeah.
nutrition. Paying nutrition to tell you what to eat a week's £50 to £70.
Mm.
Then you got your
So,
massage, your massages, your that, your gym fees, your travel to get to the gym and back. Um, oh, many of things, many of things. I could go on forever. We'd go on all day, but it does cost, and these things that are essential that you need as a fighter to get to this
mm,
level, and to go be a superstar, you have to give this 100%,
yeah,
and things cost.
yeah, absolutely. Because a lot of the general public, they just don't know.
And
A lot of
medicals.
people, absolutely,
To
yeah.
be licensed and medicaled for a year, say £1,500 a year each boxer. So think how many boxers are in the
Mm,
country. Each boxer,
mm,
they have to have a brain scan, bloods, all
mm.
kinds. Then you get paid, and then you have to pay out. You have to pay managers. You have to pay trainers, promoters take their bits.
Yeah,
The sanction you're fighting for, whatever belt, they take their bit. So
yeah.
yeah, it's not straightforward.
So around December 2021, we had a bit of luck with a social media post that we put out, which was basically just promoting yourself as an up and coming fighter with some brilliant fights on the horizon. And the look was that that post actually went viral, and it's ended up with 1 million views, 3,000 likes, and over 400 comments. And so around about it was a few months after that, actually, sponsors were starting to queue up a little bit, really,
Yeah,
both for one-off sponsorships and lots of potential 24-month contracts. How did you feel at that point, Liam?
yeah, yeah. Because then was the times. So away from the boxing, but that that time in my life, I just lost my uncle Joff, who I have on my shorts now, and that was when it really hit me. And he used to say he was a good footballer, my uncle, and he said you get one chance in this. And when he'd see me sneaking out of training and not giving it 100%, he'd always remind me that you should
Mm,
chase this boxing. You should chase. And he passed away that December, as you just
right,
talked about,
right.
and I was blessed. I had people coming on board thanks to yourself, and we was contacting, and that was the point I really dedicated to the boxing, and it was perfect timing with the sponsorships. I had people
Mm,
backing me. I had big fights on the
mm,
horizon, and it all just felt perfect for me. Going into that year that I started to win things,
yeah,
I was super motivated, and I had the backing that I needed to put the work in and spend the money I needed to spend to make sure I'm 100% ready for these fights.
brilliant. And then we had the Mark Leach victory for the British title. Um, and I remember speaking to you before this fight. So I won't say it, I'll let you say it. But how did you actually feel going into that fight?
Going into the Mark Leach fight,
Yeah.
yeah, I knew it was a big task. It was a
Mm,
big task because he just looked very good against Chris Bourke. He was very highly spoken of, and it was an awkward one for you because you just started working with me, and you knew you worked with
both.
Mark at the time, yeah. And I always
Yeah.
remember you telling me that you've never had that before. So it was the
Right.
first for you, wasn't it?
Tricky. Yeah.
Was the first, but I knew that was my opportunity. And like I said, I went through all that grief in the December. Had the good news in January that we was getting sponsors, and I had you backing me.
Yeah.
And the mindset changed. I wanted it bad. So that night in Telford, I boxed Mark Leach. I generally believe there was no one beating me that night.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, we've got a few sponsors at this point kicking in for that fight with Mark Leach. So, do you feel that the journey actually got easier as the annual sponsors joined the journey?
Yeah, from before the Leach fight, I was still working and not working on agency, on the bins and off the bins,
Right.
because actually they actually gave me a full-time job once, and before the Flores fight, I asked for a couple of weeks off work as I needed it to train and dedicate, and they said to me, "You can have 2 weeks," but I didn't ask for 3 weeks because I asked for 3 weeks because I needed 3 weeks, and they said they have to let me go if I couldn't do it, and it's hard. Just had a house with my wife, moved out my mum's, and I was, umming and ahhing what to do. I had no money, and I had to go for it. You only get one chance in life, don't you? So
Absolutely.
had to go for it, and I had to beg and borrow. Luckily, I had friends and family that could help me. And then when we connected and got the sponsors, it was such a weight lifted off my shoulders. And I've always, since I've had sponsors, I got great sponsors now. Over the years, I've met great people through my sponsorship, and will always be grateful for them kind of people because they've helped me so much. But I still don't believe they really know what they do for me in my boxing and my career, because I do try to explain to these people that are supporting me how much it means. You got my sponsors, people who buy tickets, my wife now cooking my meal in the kitchen, you helping me, my dad. This We're all clogs onto a big circle, so we're all winning.
Yeah.
And I tried to explain
Brilliant.
this to people, and they're like yourself and everyone. We're a big team, and teamwork makes the dream work, and that's the best explanation for the last couple of years for me.
Brilliant.
Mm.
I know we had a few sponsors at that point, obviously for the Mark Leach fight, and I want to say a little special shout out to Liam McDowell of Shot, who's one of the first ones to,
Yes.
to get into the sponsorship with us, and Andrew Powell, who actually through the Lighthouse Group, Chris Perrin and Viton Transport. But just going back to that fight with Mark, I was watching it again the other day, and I saw you banged your gloves together in the fifth round, smiled at Mark, and I just thought Liam absolutely loves his fighting game.
Yeah, I
Liam
love
absolutely,
boxing.
yeah, yeah,
I was
and
sparring actually last week, and when I come out the ring, someone said to me, "I've never seen someone have such a smile on their face doing 12 round sparring with 3 or 4 different people in and out." I said, honestly, I love it. I love the fighting. It's the dieting that I hate.
yeah, well, we all hate diets.
Yeah, the dieting kills me.
So, I mean, obviously, you've got these companies now that you've gone from small old shows. Now, all of a sudden, these logos that are on your kit, they're live on DAZN, they're on TNT Sports, Queensberry being promoted everywhere. I bet it makes you feel really confident, doesn't it?
Yes, definitely. And that's something that I'm glad I can give back to my sponsors, you know, these promotions on these things, because how much they have done for myself. And of course, as a young kid, as I was telling you, going to the market buying these punch bags with my granddad's and my first pair of boots, size 13, just under one. That was what the dream was. It's always the dream. And it's funny because every fight I never looked back and always wanted more. Always, and that's the right mindset to have. But
Yeah,
typical, I had my first loss last November, and it was the first time I've been able to pause, and pat myself on the back like, well done, Lee. I'm full of
yeah,
confidence. I've done it all before. I can do it all again.
absolutely. Yeah. So we've gone from Leach now. Now we're going to this European title fight against Jason Cunningham, 29th of July. We're still getting sponsors coming from that viral post. So we have a company called Mitras who's come on board. And
Yes.
I'm mentioning this guy because I want to really emphasize these lovely relationships that you form with your sponsors. Tell me a bit about Dean Beddoes.
Yeah, so Mitras, Dean Beddoes, he lived in Cheshire at the time, and he contacted because he used to live in Telford. He was born in Telford and moved up Cheshire over years. And we met through the sponsor, and I'll never forget going the first day. And I should have knew how much of a good guy he was because he got his mate who owned another business to come down to meet me to tell him that he should sponsor me too. Which always started off great, but over the years I've been down Cheshire many times, and Dean, Dean and his wife Julia, they've come down to us, and we've been up there, and we've had some great nights out, and a
Yeah,
friendship that we built through sponsorship that will last a lifetime now. And he moved
fantastic.
on from Mitras and no longer works there, and he's still coming to watch me May 10th. We still keep in touch, and yeah, friend for life, really, which I have done with so many, as you mentioned, Viton, Simeon, Manchester way, they messaged and never seen him much, but always in contact and always very supportive.
Yeah,
Same as
and
Liam McDowell,
yeah, Liam,
same,
yeah.
same
It
again.
just it just goes to show, doesn't it? It's not just about supporting you now, but these are lifelong friends and probably business people you can learn from over the years for many years, potential partners, etc., etc.
Yes, 100%. And they taught me lessons because if I'm ever in that position to be able to support someone, I would, because I've reaped the rewards from it myself.
Yeah,
So I hope one day, like say in the future, everything goes good because I'd love to be able to support the next generation of young talent coming through in this sport or any other sport.
yes. Then we had the fight against the unbeaten Italian. Obviously, we've touched on this before when you defended your European belt, and then the final against Robles. So by now, we had Carl at Office Recycling Solutions, whose cap you've got on today.
Yeah,
We've got Mark at Active Projects. We've got the Greenhouse, and Greenhouse were brilliant, weren't they? This beautiful
yeah,
Tesla turned up. I bet you're buzzing with that one.
yeah. It's on the drive still now, and I've never met the. I met one or two guys from Greenhouse, Danny and them, but they ring me on my last fight, and the bosses wanted to come, so I sorted them two tickets. Never met them, but I did ring them the other day and say, "Come to this one and make sure it's a better night." See if they want some tickets.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
as you mentioned, we've got Carl ORS, who's been a massive support. Come to the fights, and
yeah,
he's actually took me out once or twice in Birmingham. Frank Bruno's thing and another
yeah. Bit of
friendship.
network.
Yeah, and there's
And
Dale
then we've got
Williams.
Dale. Yeah,
Dale
of
at
course. Yeah,
the right choice for vehicle rental. Another great
yeah,
guy who's local, and
yeah,
he's only like say been over a year now, nearly a year, over a year I'd say, in it. And he
yeah,
supported me massively, and
yeah.
always buy tickets. Him and I think it's his cousin Carl. It's his cousin Carl who loves the boxing. They always come and always message. So you build good
Brilliant.
friendships.
So we've got some serious powerhouses in business as well, that are behind you, Liam, which is just fantastic to see. We've got obviously Gap Recruitment as well. Big shout out to those lads.
Big shout out
Fluid
to the
Power
Gap.
Supplies as well, who's just continued he's extended the sponsorship.
Yeah,
So
Jamie, another great
other
guy.
than Jamie, so other than like financial, we've touched on this, but how else would you say you've gained from the sponsorship agreements?
I've gained from it from, well, the financial is in the training camps.
Yeah,
Financially, they support the training camps. But other than
yeah,
that, do you know, just that bit inside me, personally, don't know about anyone else, that bit inside me when these people are supporting me, I
yeah,
put in the hard work because I don't want to insult their belief or their support.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
as well as financially, they support me, but they also motivate me to be the best me.
Brilliant. Yeah. Yeah, I
I
can
feel like
imagine.
I owe that to these people who are backing me. I owe it to them to be the best version of me and give everything 100%. And that's what I
And
always do.
do you think that's helped you achieve what you have?
Yes, 100%. 100%.
Brilliant.
It's pushed me on days, as I said before, days I don't want to go to the gym. I've gone because these people are supporting me and believe in me. Like,
That's
who am
beautiful, that
I?
isn't it?
Who am I to let myself down when I got all these people that ain't even known me for that long, pushing me, believing in me, saying, go get it. If you need us,
Brilliant.
we're here for anything to make sure you've got the best. And that mindset will bring the best out of anyone.
Fabulous. So then we've got an award comes in, doesn't it, from the local from the local council, the freedom of the
Okay.
borough, which is quite prestigious for an award for exceptional service or for dedication to a specific service. Which obviously, it was just magic when you got that. To be honest, because I know it can be quite powerful for yourself in the future as well. I bet you're buzzing with that.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. And it was like showed my hard work because I think it started in the 90s and I think I was the 12th name on there, something like that. So it just shows it's not given out easily, and very grateful for the people noticing my hard work. And yes, very, very grateful because it's a good feeling, isn't it? The fights are winning, good feeling, but these people having respect for you and applauding you and giving you awards that you do probably deserve,
Yeah,
So it was a special moment to go there. I went there with my wife and my mum, and it was very, very special.
brilliant. And do you think the general public, Liam, really want to see more brands sponsoring athletes?
Yeah, I believe so. I think teamwork, together everyone achieves more. I like that saying, and that is the truth on it. I'm living proof. Say, I'd
Absolutely.
still be on the bins now, and it gets to a point. Uh, a lot of people take for the sake of it in this world, and I understand why people who have worked hard to get in their positions don't want to help because people do take for the sake. But you
Yeah.
have to remember there is genuine people out there that want to work hard and just need the right support and right push in the right direction um, to achieve their goals and better their life, as well as, like, say, these sponsors that have helped me ain't just helped me in my career, because now what I've done, the experience I've gained through the sponsorship and the hard work I have put in myself, I'm going to go from when I finish boxing to Donton Boxing Club to help the next generation. And they've helped me be here, see it all, and done it all. So now imagine what I can give to the next generation of kids coming up. The right time, the right talk, and like I say, push them in the right direction. So it has, I don't know the right word for it, but like a kickback.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Well,
A
yeah.
positivity.
Yeah. A question I was going to ask you, do you think your success has had a ripple effect in the local community? But you've just answered that.
Yeah, that's why I say I hope so. I hope
Oh,
there's
yeah.
kids. I hope there's kids out there now that they believe they can do it.
Brilliant. Right, Liam. Well, it's been amazing having you on this podcast. A great success story. We've got determination, resilience, and pure grit. So thanks so much for sharing this story with us.
No, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me, Lee, and I look forward to the next couple. This podcast is going to be massive, and you're the man. You're the man to make it even bigger. I believe that genuinely. So I look forward to. Probably won't watch my own back. Hate my own voice, but I look forward to listening to the other podcasts.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lee.
If you find our content interesting and you want to stay updated with our latest episode, consider subscribing to our podcast. Thanks for your support and for tuning in.